They say the forest behind our village is cursed, that it whispers secrets only the broken can hear. I never believed that, not when I was a boy running barefoot beneath its canopy, not even when I heard the stories of those who vanished into its belly and were never seen again. Folklore, I told myself, stories to keep curious children close to home. But everything changed on the night my mother tied her Ankara wrapper around her frail body, picked up an old lantern, and walked into that forest like she was answering a call no one else could hear. I was the last person to see her. I still remember how the warm glow of her lantern faded into the darkness, how her grey curls swayed gently in the wind like a farewell. I shouted her name. I begged, but she didn't look back. She never looked back. This is not just a story of loss. It is a story of mystery, blood, silence, and the weight of a mother's secret. 3 weeks before she disappeared, something in my mother changed. At 80, Mama was still a firebrand, wrinkled, yes, but regal. Her posture straighter than mine, her words sharp as a blade. Every Sunday, she sat in church with her colorful Ankara wrapper around her like armor, her eyes fixed on the altar like she was daring God to blink. But then, she started talking to things that weren't there. At first, I thought it was just old age. I came home one afternoon to find her murmuring near the window. "Who are you talking to?" I asked, smiling, thinking she was singing to herself. She didn't answer. She just turned and said, "They have come again." "They?" She gave a tired smile. "The ones from the trees. They don't forget." That night, I found fresh kola nuts arranged in a circle in the backyard. A calabash of palm oil sat in the middle, lit by candlelight. My heart sank. "Mama, what is this?" She didn't deny it. "Offerings," she said. "So the forest remembers my kindness." I began to worry. I took her to Pastor Eke. He prayed, laid hands on her, sprinkled oil, declared deliverance. She smiled through all of it like a mother entertaining a child's tantrum. But the next morning, the kola nuts were back, this time inside the house, in front of the doorway. She would wake in the middle of the night, whispering names I didn't recognize. Obase, Ngozi, Ebere, names of the dead I later discovered. When I asked the elders, people who had vanished decades ago, people last seen walking into the forest. I started locking the doors at night, but one night, I woke to the sound of the front door creaking open. I ran out of my room and found her standing at the threshold, lantern in hand, already wrapped in her best Ankara, as if she was going to church or a funeral. "Mama, where are you going?" I cried, rushing to her. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw it. Peace, not confusion, not fear. "There are debts I must pay," she said softly. "They have waited long enough." Before I could stop her, she stepped outside. The wind rose sharply, rustling the trees as if the forest itself had awakened. "Mama, please," I shouted. "Come back." She walked on, barefoot, steady, lantern glowing. I followed her to the edge of the forest, but something rooted me there. Fear. How? I don't know. All I know is I watched the woman who raised me, who never feared a man or a spirit, vanish between the trees without a single backward glance. That was the night my mother walked into the forest and never returned. They told me not to go after her. "Let her go, Chuka," said Elder Nana, his voice trembling more than usual. "You must not enter that place after dark. The forest chooses who it calls and who it keeps." But I couldn't sleep, not with her voice still echoing in my ears. "There are debts I must pay." What debts? Mama had lived a good life. She raised me alone after Papa died in 92. Fed half the village during the famine, taught Sunday school, never missed a funeral, wedding or naming ceremony. What debt does a woman like that owe? I didn't believe in curses, but I believed in my mother, and something had taken her. I waited until morning, grabbed my father's old machete, and stepped into the same forest she entered. My heart, a drum inside my chest. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Birds didn't sing here, no monkeys in the trees, just the sound of my own breathing, and something else, something distant, like whispering, just low enough that I couldn't make out the words. The deeper I went, the more the forest changed. The trees grew thicker, older, some so wide I couldn't see around them. Vines hung like ropes and roots twisted like sleeping snakes across the earth. But what unsettled me most were the caverns. Dozens of them, etched into bark, withered with time, some smiling, some screaming, some blank. I ran my fingers over one and it was warm. Breathing, I snatched my hand back. Mama, I called. Mama, please answer me. No response, only the whispering. Closer now, louder. Then I saw it, her scarf, tangled in a branch. The same Ankara print she wore the night she left. I grabbed it, pressed it to my chest, and that's when I felt it. The wind, sharp and sudden, calling around my neck like fingers. The whispering turned to weeping. Mama, I shouted again. That's when the forest opened. One moment I was surrounded by trees, then the next. I stood at a circular clearing, completely silent. The air was thick with the scent of burning herbs, and in the center of the clearing stood a shrine. It was nothing like the ones I have seen in the village. This one was ancient. Twisted roots formed an altar. Atop it sat a ball of bones, feathers, and something that looked like dried blood. Around the shrine were more of those carved faces, except these had eyes. Real eyes, blinded but watching, and just beyond the altar, beneath the shade of a massive Iroko tree, lay the lantern, still glowing. I ran to it, it was hers. I picked it up, heart pounding, and then I saw them, footprints, bare feet, small, fading into the earth like they have been there for decades, but they were fresh. Mama, I whispered. Then a voice behind me said, she's not yours anymore. I turned, no one, just the wind. But the air shifted, grew colder, and out of the shadows stepped a woman. At first, I thought it was Mama, same frame, same gray hair, but this woman's face was cracked, like bark peeling from a dying tree. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with life but memory. You should not be here, Shuka, she said. My blood froze. How do you know my name? Your mother told us. I raised the lantern between us. Where is she? The woman stepped forward and suddenly her face shifted, became younger, not human, familiar. She smiled and I saw Mama's smile reflected in it. Then I understood this was not one person, it was many. All the ones who walked into this forest. I don't understand, I whispered. She came willingly. The woman said she remembered what she owed. What debt? What did she owe you? A purse, then a promise made in blood. She turned, pointed to the altar. Your mother was a child during the famine of 1943. Her parents were desperate. They made a vow to the old gods, spare our family, and when the time is right, you may take one of us back. Your mother survived. Her siblings died. Her parents paid with silence, but the gods, they remember. I staggered backward. She didn't tell me. She didn't want you to know. The woman says softly, but the forest remembers everything. I looked again at the altar, the faces, the bones. I saw hers now, Mama's etched freshly into a tree at the edge of the clearing, eyes closed, peacefully. No, I muttered, no, she can't be gone. I have to bring her home. The woman tilted her head. You can't bring back what belongs to the forest, but you can stay. The earth groaned beneath me. The trees leaned in. Whispers turned to shouts. Stay, stay, stay. I turned and ran. ran until my lungs screamed, until the tree stained, until I burst out of the forest and fell into the red dust of the village road. Lantern still clutched in my hand, its light now cold and flickered. Mama never came back, but neither did I. Not fully, because part of me is still in that forest, the part that believes the trees are watching, that somewhere deep beneath those roots, my mother's soul still lingers, honoring a promise made long before I was ever born. Moral lessons. Our past matters even when we didn't create it. Sometimes we inherit more than names or land. We inherit debts, promises, and secrets. Understanding them can protect us from repeating the mistakes of those who came before. If this story moved you, gave you goosebumps, made you reflect, or just pulled you in, please don't scroll away without hitting that subscribe button.